Well, boys, the fat cat got us again. The bald, fat cat got us again. UFC Noche has been announced, and it is a weak card. Okay? It is a very disappointing card. Today, we're going to talk about what Dana has said about the event and how much he has once again under-delivered. He did this with UFC 300, and now he's doing it with UFC Noche. Stick around to hear my thoughts on the announcement. I'm Wyatt. This is Fight Society. So we'll start off with this right here. This is Dana White, and I made a video about this. I made multiple videos about the Sphere card so far, and $17 million invested into UFC 306, now called Riyadh Season Noche UFC, with block asset. Now, for this event, there is 10 fights, Dana White said, and $17 million invested. Now, if you remember, this card was originally UFC 306 at the Sphere. I've been saying for a long time the main event that was announced will be the main event. We'll get to that in a second. But we have Dana White saying $17 million has been invested into this. We have this right here of Riyadh Season, Saudi Arabia, agreeing to be the title sponsor, the UFC, for Noche UFC, which was UFC 306. And then you also have His Excellency, as a lot of people have been saying they call him that in regards to his boxing fights that he's been putting on. He's responsible for Fury versus Alexander Usyk, Fury versus Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, and a lot of big fights. He just now got involved with, I think it was Top Rank and Queensberry Promotions. Now they're involved with the UFC as well. They invested money for naming rights for this event. So here we are, $17 million, naming sponsor. Dana White must be giving us the greatest card ever put together, better than UFC 300. Wrong. Here we are. And now, don't get me wrong, this main event is a sick fight, but here we have, and I'm not going to play the actual announcement because the last time I used some UFC stuff, it got copyrighted. So Dana White did his official announcement for the card, and I'm telling you, this is what happened. They wanted to bury this in the UFC 304 Fight Week headlines. They wanted to announce this, sneak it past everybody. It's the same way that they announced the UFC 300 main event right after Ilia Topuria knocked out Alexander Volkanovski. They tried to sneak one past us. Now, don't get me wrong. Main event is a sick fight, Merab versus O'Malley. This is the fight that we've been wanting to see. Probably my most desired title fight right now, up there with Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria, and whatever Alex Pereira does next, because Alex Pereira is my favorite fighter. But this is probably my most desired title fight right now to see, because there's a lot of questions that'll be answered. People say O'Malley got the Sterling fight when Sterling wasn't ready, and then he won, and then he defended against Cheeto, who didn't deserve it. But here we are now. He's fighting the number one guy. We're going to find out some very important things about these elite bantamweights in this fight. I'm going to lean O'Malley, but I'll make a prediction for that during the fight week when it comes up. But here's the rest of the card, guys. We have O'Malley Merab as the main event. Just talked about that. We have Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko as the co-main event trilogy. Grasso won the first fight. They had a draw in their second fight at the last UFC Noche. So they've both had almost a year off, or about a year off. Below that, we have what was supposed to happen at UFC 303 and ended up being Dan Ige against Diego Lopes. But we have Brian Ortega, who I guess is not moving up to 155 anymore, or not yet. They probably threw him a bag because they want to offer up his featherweight ranking to Diego Lopez, get Diego Lopez into the top 5, and then Brian Ortega can go on his merry way up to 155. So we have Brian Ortega, Diego Lopes. These three right here, just the top 3, banging, but they got to complete a main card. They have to, if they're charging us $80, they have to give us a full stacked main card, 5 ranked fights. They can be women's fights. They can be flyweight fights. They have to be ranked fights. $80 pay-per-views. You have to put 5 ranked, not title fights, but ranked fights. Okay, there's exceptions. There's McGregor. There's Diaz. The people that have a slot on the main card because of their star power. But you have to give us 5 good fights for $80. And here's what they gave us. So Raul Rosas is going to be on the main card. They have changed this. So as of right now, the announcement that Dana did said something different. But as of right now, it's Raul Rosas against Aori Kilane, who is a middling veteran. Raul Rosas is going to get thrown a dub here at the Sphere for Mexican Independence Day weekend. So unranked 135 fight. And then you have Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont, who nobody cares about, let's be honest. But then, it's going to be the biggest combat sports event of all time, the most amazing show we've ever put on, like Dana White has said. Here's the prelims. Ignacio Bahamondes and Manuel Torres, who Bahamondes is really good. Very good. Could be a future champion. Very exciting. But that's our featured prelim on the biggest spectacle in UFC history. A prospect fight. A prospect that's being thrown a dub. How about that? Edgar Chairez against Kevin Borjas. Now, does anybody care about this fight? An unranked flyweight fight. And then from there, I know they said Ode Osborne was on the main card. I'm going off of the UFC website. I know that also Guru said Ode Osborne was on the main card. I hope they rearrange it. I hope now that they know that Canelo is fighting at T-Mobile the same weekend, that they need to add a couple fights to this card. Something big. Paulo Costa. Brandon Moreno, get him out of his hiatus, you know? We move down from there. Ode Osborne, Ronaldo Rodriguez, low-level fight. I mean, they are good. I think Ode Osborne was ranked at flyweight, but it's just not a high-level fight that people care about. And then we have Yasmin Jauregui, who's undefeated against Ketlin Souza. Yasmin Jauregui is really good. So she's Mexican. I understand why she's on this card. And then Daniel Zellhuber going up against Esteban Ribovics. Ribovics coming off of his head kick win KO over Terrence McKinney, and Zellhuber's coming off of a win at the Apex, I think it was. But overall, guys, $80. And they're giving us two title fights. One of them we don't care that much about. A fight with a guy that's about to leave the division. They're obviously just offering up Ortega's ranking to Lopez before Ortega goes up to 55. Raul Rosas, I get it. And then this fight nobody cares about. Terrible prelims, 10 fights. That tells me that there was something they were not able to pull off in terms of the booking, like how many hours they would be at the venue. They probably had to pay some crazy number if they did 15 fights. But it's lacking, guys. It's the state that we are in with pay-per-views right now. $80 for two fights you care about? O'Malley, Merab, and Ortega, Diego Lopez, sorry. You guys always get on me for the way I say Lopes. $80 for one fight we really care about. UFC, do better. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to click like and subscribe down below, all that YouTube stuff. It really helps me out a lot. If you're interested in supporting the channel further and want access to members-only perks, become a channel member today for access to members-only live streams and some other perks. Link is in the description down below, or just click the join button on our channel homepage. If you're looking for some non-MMA content from me, go check out my personal channel, Wyatt's World. I'll have that linked in the description down below as well. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.